Roy Gaurachandaya Radhikaya Gadadaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Vandeham Shri Guru Varam Shri Rupanuga Prabharam Vajrasasikam Charanam Shri Guru Charanam Vande Amana Pristaya Bhutale Rupanuga Bhaktivedanta Pamati Narayana Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sulaksha Madhurya Madhurya Ganeshe Tam Manam Marinyam Purusham Tam Tam Shri Sadhana Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jai Rup Sanatan Bhakti Raghunath Shri Ji Gopal Bhakti Dasana Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram First of all, I offer my Shakti and pronouns at the lowest feet of our spiritual masters. Thy Shri on Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev and Thy Shri on Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev. Entire Rupana Gauri of the world, our Lords and all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present. I was in the kitchen, saw his order. We'll continue speaking and discussing from Sri Rai Ramananda's Samvad, which is the conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rai Ramananda Prabhu. So we see that Mahaprabhu is non-different from Sri Krishna himself. And although he is non-different from Krishna, the speciality of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that he has shown us how to be an ideal sadhak, which even Krishna has not shown. Because Krishna, when he descended to this world, what was his purpose? His purpose was to show everyone how by rendering loving devotional service on his lotus feet, one can achieve prema bhakti. But he didn't show the process to achieve this prema bhakti. He has not shown. And what was his purpose in coming to this world? Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham dehamashrita Ajade tadrishi kridi yashrutva tat paro bhavet. So he appeared in this world in his human-like form. Why? So that people can listen to his leelas, think about his leelas, and achieve prema bhakti. But he did not show the process how to achieve this prema bhakti. This he did not show. He said, Sarvadharman pariteke, mam ekam sharanam vraja. He told everyone, you surrender unto me, but he didn't show how to surrender unto him. That process he did not show. And who showed that process? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown that process. Because he appeared in the mood of a devotee. And he has shown. So in all these conversations that he is having with his devotees, like Radha Ramananda, Swarup Ramananda, he is showing us how to achieve this prema bhakti, this Krishna prema. So here, Kaviraj Goswami is saying that Mahaprabhu remained for some time in that sanctified forest, which is that Upama, that forest on the banks of the Godavari. So we read previously that Mahaprabhu, when he saw this forest, he was reminded of Vrindavan. He saw the river Godavari, he was reminded of Yamuna. He saw one hill there, he was reminded of Giri. So here, if Mahaprabhu is so much absorbed in this bhava of Vrindavan, then why did he stay in Vrindavan? No, he could have just spent the rest of his life here in Vrindavan. Why did he stay in Jagannath Puri for 18 years, going all over South India for 6 years? What is the reason? He could have just stayed here in Vrindavan. The reason is that if he would have stayed here in Vrindavan, then every Leela Sthali of this abode, every particle of dust of this abode would have reminded him that he is Krishna himself. And that bhav with which he appeared, the bhav of Srimati Radhika, would have been lost. Then he would have realized that I am Krishna himself. I am no longer absorbed in the bhav of Srimati Radhika. So he didn't stay here for long. Even when he came to Vrindavan, he stayed only for a few days here. And then he left. He came only once to Vrindavan. couldn't stay for long. How could he stay here for long? He could not. He had to go to a place which was neutral, which was neither for nor against. So he went to such a place which was Tathastha. So Jagannath Puri was like that. It was Tathastha. Why? Because Jagannath Puri is Kurukshetra. We see that the Vrajavasis now went to Dwaraka, but they went to Kurukshetra during the solar eclipse, and there they met Krishna. So this bhav in Jagannath Puri reminds Mahaprabhu so much of that bhav that the Vrajavasis had for Krishna when they went to Kurukshetra. It is for this reason that he stayed there. Like when Srimati Radhika saw Krishna there in Kurukshetra, she was telling Krishna that here you are Dwarkadish, here you are married to so many queens, but where is your flute? Here you no longer identify yourself as the son of Nanda and Yashoda. You are saying you are the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. Where is your Pitambar? I wish to see you in that form. So with that mood, Srimati Radhika, by the chariot of her heart, she took Krishna back to Vrindavan. So it is that mood in which Mahaprabhu is absorbed in these bhavas of Srimati Radhika, these bhavas of Vrindavan. So there Mahaprabhu, he stayed for some time, and then after bathing in the Godavari, Mahaprabhu, he walked a little distance away from there. Why? Because many people who were staying there, they were not so conducive to his bhav. These people, their feelings towards Mahaprabhu was a little even hostile. They were even thinking, who is this sannyasi? Why is he here? They did not have the proper mood. So Mahaprabhu, he left that place. Because he knew if these people would find some faults in Mahaprabhu, then it would be very bad for their lives, for their spiritual lives. So Mahaprabhu himself went to it. So you see, a sadhu is like that. A sadhu is so merciful, he will even avoid association with certain people because he is only thinking about their welfare. He is thinking that if these people associate with me, it is sure they will find faults with me. They will even criticize me. They will commit offenses, and which is very bad for him. So he leaves that place. This is the reason sadhu avoids them. Some people are thinking, why is he avoiding me? This is the reason. They may find faults with him. So Mahaprabhu said that, and then Raya Ramananda, he came there. So many Brahmanas who accompanied Raya Ramananda, they also took bath in the Godavari, and then they performed their rituals. So here it is said that Raya Ramananda, when he was performing his ritualistic activities there, don't think he was performing his ritualistic activities like a Smarta Brahmin. So a Smarta Brahmin is an orthodox Brahmin. Means his angle of vision, his perspective is very confined, very restricted. He is not so open-hearted, so broad-minded. In the sense, he believes in this orthodoxy. Means he thinks only those born in Brahmin families, only they are entitled, qualified to perform all these ritualistic ceremonies, not anyone else. So when Raya Ramananda was performing these activities, he was not doing like how these Smarta Brahmins do. Rather, he was doing from a spiritual understanding, to set an example. Like we see when Mahaprabhu's father passed away, Jagannath Mishra, what need was there for Mahaprabhu to go to Gaya and perform this Pindadan, offer oblations to his father? What need was there? There was no need for it. But still Mahaprabhu went there. Why? Because he was an ideal householder, an ideal grihastha. He wanted to show everyone how to be ideal grihasthas. For like grihasthas, if their family members pass away, then you must perform these things. Pindadan, offer oblations, do all these things. Because you see, a grihastha is still obliged to his parents. He is still obliged to many people around him. Like once one devotee, she asked Gurudev that, Gurudev, let's say that my father or my mother are opposed to devotional service. So what should my relationship be with them? And Gurudev said, even if they are opposed to you, still you must respect them. Because you are an householder. Being a householder, you are still obliged to them. But if you are a tyagi, if you gave everything up, then you are not obliged to anyone in this world. But because you are still at home, you are obliged to them to a certain degree. So even if that person is against you, still you should respect him. So here we see Mahaprabhu, he went to Gaya, performed Pindadan, and then he came back. But then when he was a sannyasi, he didn't do the same thing for Sachi Devi. Because Mother Sachi, she actually left this world when Mahaprabhu was still a sannyasi. But he didn't go there and perform Pindadan for his mother. But when he was a householder, he did that for his wife. Because sannyasis are given this exemption. Because already a sannyasi is performing such good service for his parents, for everyone in that sense. What is an ideal sannyasi? Everyone around him are benefited so much. So much they're benefited. So here, when Mahaprabhu performed these things, he showed us the ideal, the example. To follow the scriptures from a spiritual perspective, not from a mundane perspective. So it is understood that Sri Ramananda Rai performed his bathing, an offering of oblations to his ancestors according to the Vaishnava methods prescribed in literatures like Hari Bhakti Vilas. So in this book, Sanatana Goswami, he has written what are the ceremonies that one should perform. Beginning from the very, like you see when a household is married, then during previous times, there used to be this ceremony called Garbhadan Sanskar. Garbhadan Sanskar means the wife of the husband. She would then perform this ceremony in which she would say, now I am offering my womb in charity for the another living entity. Because before the man and woman would unite, they would hold a ceremony and they would receive the blessings of all their superiors, all their elders. And then after the ceremony was absorbed, then the Brahmanas, they would say that this lady, such and such lady, she is offering her stomach, her womb in charity, so a living entity kindly appear in her womb. And then they would perform the union. And then a child would be born to them. And that child who would be born would be a very saintly person. He would be a very good person. So then after this Garbhadan Sanskar is performed, then Namkaran Sanskar is performed. Then the child is given a good name, proper name. And then his Upanayan Sanskar is performed. If he is a Brahmin, then his Upanayan Sanskar is performed at the age of 5. And if he is a Kshatriya, his Upanayan Sanskar is performed at the age of 8. And if he is a Vaishya, at the age of 22, 25. In this way. And then again he becomes a Vipra, becomes a thrice born. First he is born, and then he becomes a twice born, and then he becomes a thrice born. And he receives initiation from a powerful Guru. So all these principles are described in Hari Bhakti Vilas, in Satriya Saradipika, Sanskar Dipika. So here you see we should not take a jump. We should not think all these things are not necessary. They are so necessary. Like even when you receive this sannyas initiation, which book is followed? Satriya Saradipika is followed. Sanskar Dipika, the book that Gopal Bhatta Goswami has written. All these rituals that you see, he has explained. Now, we may think, what is the need? Like once one accepts initiation, there is a fire sacrifice. So many mantras are recited. Then one goes everywhere asking for bhiksha. What need is there for all these things? There is surely a need. Because these things are the base, the platform. Not neglect such things. Unless one is in the stage of bhav, then he can neglect all these things. But for us who are not in the stage of proper nishtha, we don't even have full-fledged faith, full-blown faith. Even our faith is very restless, changing. So for us, it's very essential. So Raya Ramananda performed all these activities. So some say, some so-called intelligent people, they say that Raya Ramananda was very realized in the Vedas. And that although he was a pure devotee, he still followed Varnashram Dharma with complete faith. Therefore, he performed the activities of taking bath and offering oblations to his forefathers. So here some people, they say, you see here, Raya Ramananda was a pure devotee, one of the most exalted followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But you see here, he is also having a bath in the river, he is also respecting all the Brahmanas, he is also offering oblations to his forefathers. So why are the Vaishnavas so stubborn, they are saying? Why do the Vaishnavas neglect all these principles of Varna and Ashram, and Raya Ramananda himself is following? This is the question they're raising. Yet, the great learned spiritual master, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he has refuted this by saying that Raya Ramananda was a Shuddha Bhakta, and there is no need at all for such a pure devotee to follow the rules of Varnashram Dharma. The term Shuddha Bhakta actually means that such a person has abandoned Varnashram Dharma and follows Krishna Bhakti one-pointedly. It is for this reason that Raya Ramananda is said to be the topmost of all devotees. From this it is clearly shown that Raya Ramananda was not at all a follower of Varnashram Dharma. Because Varnashram Dharma, it confines one. Varnashram Dharma, it confines one to this bodily understanding. And one only thinks in terms of his body and mind. He doesn't think in terms of his soul. So if one were to say that Raya Ramananda was a perfect follower of Varnashram Dharma, rather than being a Shuddha Bhakta, then actually one is actually minimizing his position. Who is Raya Ramananda? Vishaka Devi herself. If the gopis care for any Varna and ashram, nothing. They gave everything up. Dustricha Geha Shrinkalam. A shrinkal, that chains, that bondage to family, society, everything they gave up, as though it was very insignificant. So here, that how will that same Vishaka was appeared as Raya Ramananda being bound by Varna and ashram? So here he is only setting the standard for us to follow. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Raya Ramananda, he knew immediately who he was, and a great eagerness to meet him awoke within his mind. Because Sarvam Bhattacharya, he had told Mahaprabhu who Raya Ramananda was. He told Mahaprabhu that previously I thought Raya Ramananda was a very sentimental person. Emotional. But now I'm realizing that he's a great devotee, a devotee of the highest standard. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told Mahaprabhu, if you go to South India, then you must meet Raya Ramananda. You must. And then we hear that Mahaprabhu, when he met Raya Ramananda, he was so happy, he knew who he was. Actually, he went to South India only to meet Raya Ramananda, not for any other reason. Because we say, one reason was that Mahaprabhu's elder brother, Vishwarup, he had taken sannyas and he had left home many years before. So Mahaprabhu, he had received this news that Vishwarup, he was staying in South India, in Pandharpur, in Maharashtra. So Pandharpur is a very special place, very pure, holy place. There Krishna is worshipped as Vittalnath, Vitova, Panduranga. And Krishna, if you see the deity form of Krishna, he is standing with his two hands like this. Rukmini is also there inside. Because Krishna, once he came to see his devotee, Pundarik. And Pundarik, he was serving his parents. He was massaging his father and mother's legs. So Pundarik previously was very attached to a prostitute. He left his wife, he left his parents, everyone. But then later he lost his legs. Because there was a rishi sitting there and he wanted to kick that rishi. The rishi was like absorbed in his meditation. And he went to kick him. Who are you? You're not respecting him, to kick him. And as soon as he tried raising his one leg, he became paralyzed. He could not even walk anymore. So then anyhow, he started repenting for his actions. He started serving society, his parents, everyone. And then Krishna himself, when he came to see him, he told Krishna that you wait for some time. Let me finish my service, because his parents were great devotees. So let me finish my service and then I'll come to see you. So then as soon as he finished his services and he came to see Krishna, there is a Krishna was standing on a stone. So that same form of Krishna is worshipped to this day in Pandharpur. So then Mahaprabhu's elder brother Vishwarupa, after he took sannyas, he was known as Shankararanya. So then he went to Pandharpur and he was staying there. And when Mahaprabhu went to Pandharpur, there he met one disciple of Madhavendra Puri called Rangapuri. So when he met Rangapuri there, then Rangapuri, he said, oh, I know who you are. You are Krishna Chaitanya. Actually, we came to your house, Rangapuri said. Mahaprabhu was very surprised. He said, how did you come to my house? He said, I came to your house along with my spiritual master, Madhavendra Puri. Because when Madhavendra Puri was going all around India, visiting all these pilgrimage places, he also came with all his disciples to Mayapur. And there he came to Sachidevi's house. And Sachidevi and Jagannath Mishra, they received these sadhus, washed their feet, served them so nicely. And Sachidevi also cooked for these sannyasis, all of them. And then Madhavendra Puri, when he tasted what Sachidevi had cooked, and Madhavendra Puri, he said, it seems as though Lakshmi Devi herself has cooked this. No ordinary lady can cook this. In this way he said. So therefore, even Rangapuri was there. But then Rangapuri, he told Mahaprabhu that your elder brother, he has entered into Samadhi here. On the banks of the river Beam. He has entered into Samadhi. So then Mahaprabhu, he went and then he shaved his head. Because for 4 months, Mahaprabhu was following Chaturmasya. So he wouldn't shave his head, nothing. But then, after 2 months, because his elder brother had passed away, Mahaprabhu, he shaved his head. So, although Mahaprabhu was very eager to meet Raya Ramananda, he remained sitting patiently. Then Raya Ramananda saw the astonishing, beautiful sannyasi and came near. The bodily effulgence of that sannyasi was as brilliant as unlimited suns. A saffron cloth was covering him, who was large in body and strongly built, and whose eyes were like lotus flowers. So Mahaprabhu, when he was sitting there, this effulgence was like emanating from him and it caught everyone's attention. Like when Mahaprabhu was in Kashi, when he was in the assembly of Prakashananda Saraswati, then Prakashananda Saraswati, he saw Mahaprabhu, he was sitting near that place where everyone would wash their feet and hands. Mahaprabhu was sitting there very humble. So then Prakashananda Saraswati, he said, oh, you are Krishna Chaitanya, such an exalted sannyasi, and you are sitting in such a place where everyone washes their feet, their legs. Mahaprabhu said, so what? He said, no harm. No harm. He said, what if I'm sitting here, I'm receiving the foot dust of everyone here? He said, no harm. So then Prakashananda Saraswati, he personally lifted Mahaprabhu. He caught him by the hand and he made him sit next to him in front of everyone. So you see here, this is the humility of Bhagavan and his devotees. Like once, all the disciples of Sai Maharaj, they went from Vrindavan to Hyderabad in South India. They had a program there. So then they had reserved an entire bogie on coach. So then all the devotees, when they were traveling from Vrindavan to Hyderabad, there they saw there was one sadhu. He had matted locks of hair. He was sitting right near the bathroom. And all these devotees, they were sitting and they were honoring Mahaprasad. So this sadhu, he was sitting right there near the bathroom, but still, he did not ask for any Mahaprasad from them. He didn't ask for anything. And then even when the devotees were in Hyderabad, for Swami Maharaj's Harikatha, they had their own accommodation, everything. And this sadhu had nothing. No accommodation, no food. He would sit underneath a tree. Nothing. And even when they came back from Hyderabad, after staying there for 4-5 days, back to Vrindavan, the same sadhu, again he was sitting next to the bathroom. He still didn't have a seat. So people, they were thinking maybe he's a Mayavadi sadhu, so they didn't speak to him as much. But then, after he received sannyas from Swami Maharaj, they realized that same sadhu was Srila Gauragovinda Maharaj. Same sadhu was sitting right next to the bathroom the whole time. I didn't ask anything from the devotee whatsoever. So you see, Bhagavan and his followers know that. So the sight of that astonishing sannyasi struck the heart of Raya Ramananda with wonder. He approached him and respectfully prostrated himself, falling flat like a stick before him. So he offered Dando pranams. So then Mahaprabhu, seeing him offering obeisances, stood up and said, please get up, chant Krishna Krishna. Mahaprabhu then was very eager to embrace him. Although Mahaprabhu understood who he was, still he inquired, are you Raya Ramananda? To this, Raya Ramananda, with great humility, he responded. He said, yes, this unfortunate Shudra is your servant. So why is Raya Ramananda addressing himself as a Shudra? Because he was working for the king. He was the Viceroy General. So he was like in the administrative duty. He was given this service. So in his humility, he was saying only Shudras perform these things. So here you see, he's addressing himself in that way. I'm a Shudra. That same Shudra is your servant. So hearing this, Mahaprabhu embraced Raya Ramananda. Indeed, both the master and the servant, absorbed in ecstatic love, lost consciousness. Natural love for each other awakened in both their hearts, and in their embrace, they both fell to the ground unconscious. See, Mahaprabhu is always very eager to embrace his devotees. That is his love for them. Like we see, even yesterday we heard in Harikatha, this Vasudeva Vipra, he had leprosy. Worms used to fall from his body. But still Mahaprabhu would run and embrace him. Because he knew such a great devotee he was. Mahaprabhu would run to embrace Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami, when he was coming from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri, he drank some water and some pus was coming out of his body. And whenever Mahaprabhu would come to embrace him, Sanatana Goswami would avoid him. But still Mahaprabhu would run and embrace him. Because he said, just by your touch I am getting purified. And then we see when Jagadananda Pandit told Sanatana Goswami to go back to Vrindavan, then Mahaprabhu chastised him. He said, who are you? Who are you, Jaga? He said, you're a small boy in front of Sanatana. Sanatana Goswami is such a great scholar, he is my guru also. And you are giving him advice that you do this, you do that. Just by his touch, everyone, the entire universe is purified, Mahaprabhu said. So he would run to embrace his devotees. So here also he would run to embrace Raya Ramananda. So Raya Ramananda is Vishaka Sakhi herself in Krishna's pastimes. And Mahaprabhu is the combined form of Radha and Krishna. So the natural love that Radha and Krishna have for Vishaka, it manifested upon seeing each other. So when Mahaprabhu saw Raya Ramananda, he realized that this is Vishaka herself. And when Vishaka saw Mahaprabhu, when Raya Ramananda saw him, he realized this is Radha and Krishna themselves. So they're embracing each other in that mood. So perfectly naturally occurring prem is not achieved by sadhana. The relationship between the devotee and Bhagavan is something like this. When the devotee sees his worshipful Lord, so many waves of prem arise within his heart. And when Bhagavan sees his devotee, then his Bhakta Vatsalya or fathomless ocean, it arises within his heart, this ocean of affection. Thus both of them become bewildered. So this is a reciprocal relationship. When Bhagavan sees his devotees, Bhagavan feels so much happiness in his heart. And when the devotees see Bhagavan, then the devotees feel so much happiness in their heart. So when they embraced each other, the 8 ecstatic transformations, such as becoming stunned, perspiration, tears, shivering, horripilation, they all appeared on their bodies. Their voices became choked, and both began to chant Krishna, Krishna. They wanted to conceal their praying for each other, but they could not. They became helpless. So when the ritualistic Brahmanas saw this, they were wonderstruck. They were thinking, the effulgence of this sannyasi is like Bhagavan himself. But despite this, he is crying upon embracing this Shudra, Raya Ramananda. Why is this? So you see these Brahmins, you see how narrow-minded they are. They are thinking, who is this sannyasi, such an effulgent person? And he is crying upon embracing Raya Ramananda, who is a Shudra, who is also a Grihastha householder. They are saying we cannot reconcile. You see how they are? The Vedic Brahmanas, they considered Raya Ramananda to be a supremely learned personality. So he's saying, all right, even if he's a Shudra, he's very learned, he's very grave. So why is he becoming mad upon embracing this sannyasi? The Brahmins are saying, Raya Ramananda is so learned. No, a learned person is very grave. He's always very composed. So here he is becoming mad upon embracing him. He's rolling on the ground, he's falling unconscious. Why is this? They're saying. So here the Vedic Brahmanas, they were considering Raya Ramananda to be a Shudra. The scriptures forbid sannyasis to touch members of the Shudra community. So according to the scriptures, a sannyasi should not touch a Shudra. So does that mean a Shudra by birth or by qualities? It means by qualities, not by birth. Here let's see scripture. By birth means everyone is a Shudra in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, everyone is born as a Shudra. Because you see, any baby who is born in this world is always crying as soon as he is born from his mother's womb. So a symptom of a Shudra is that he's always lamenting, he's always crying out. So everyone is born as a Shudra. It is only by his qualities that he is known either as a Brahmin, Kshatriya or a Vaishya. So here, if a person is always lamenting in this world, is always very regretful and all these things, then one should be very careful to have his association or to not have his association. So the Brahmanas were thinking that this sannyasi is so effulgent, and why is he tightly embracing him? How can this be? So Raya Ramananda has also described himself as a Shudra. Why? Because he was the representative of King Prataparudra. And due to performing service to a king, his nature and activities should have been inclined towards irreligion. His dress and ornaments were that of a servant of the king. Therefore, it was not proper for a sannyasi to touch him at all. So Raya Ramananda, being a representative, he has many jewels on his body, very opulently dressed he is. He's a representative of the king. So then they're saying, how can a sannyasi embrace him then, touch him? How is this possible? But in fact, Raya Ramananda's connection was with the Kshatriya. So he was actually born in a Kshatriya family, Raya Ramananda. He was not a Shudra. Furthermore, he was a great pure devotee, Shuddha Bhakta. By declaring himself a Shudra, he manifested the mood of Trinadapi Sunich, regarding himself lower than the straw on the street. Raya Ramananda was a Param Bhagavat, or a devotee of the topmost caliber, and a complete knower of Bhakti Tattva. Because the Vedic Brahmanas did not know the factual identity of Mahaprabhu, they took him to be a mere sannyasi. So they considered Raya Ramananda to be a supremely learned personality, very grave. Then why is he becoming so restless? So this was the cause of their astonishment. So you see, they're only judging everyone according to their birth. Like you see, during Mahaprabhu's time, there was one great devotee called Kalidas. So Kalidas, he was the only person who was given permission to drink the water that had washed Mahaprabhu's feet. Because before Mahaprabhu would enter inside the Jagannath temple, he would wash his feet in one place. And Mahaprabhu, he would make sure no one could drink that water. Mahaprabhu was very strict. Because you can imagine, Mahaprabhu himself was washing his feet. Who would not want that Channamrit? Everyone would be fighting for it. But Mahaprabhu, he told his sevaks, make sure no one gets any of this water. But Kalidas, when he came there, he started drinking that water. And Mahaprabhu didn't say anything. So then all the devotees are so surprised. Why is Mahaprabhu not chastising this person? Because previously in Gundicha Mandir, one person, he put water on Mahaprabhu's feet and he drank it. And Mahaprabhu became very angry. He told Sarup Damodar Goswami, just see your Gaudiya Bhaktas. This boy from Bengal in front of everyone in the temple of Bhagavan, he's washing my feet and drinking the water. Follows no etiquette. Sarup Damodar slapped him. Sarup Damodar Goswami slapped him and he took him outside. And he said, what you've done is actually very good. But don't do this in front of everyone. This way. Like even if you are the remnants of a Vaishnava, if you ask the remnants of a Vaishnava in front of everyone, you give me your remnants, will you give? He'll never give. You must ask in private. How can I please have some of those remnants? Cannot even like by force, you cannot take from his plate. Give me. Force, give me that. Lassi. By force, you cannot take. No, you have to ask in private. So here, but Kalidas, in front of everyone, he was drinking that water. So then when they asked Mahaprabhu said, he actually has faith in the remnants of a Vaishnava. Therefore, I am giving him this opportunity. Because previously Kalidas, what would he do? He would give some gifts to devotees, and when the devotees would take that Mahaprasad, he would take their remnants. Once he went to the house of Charu Thakur. So Charu Thakur was born in a very low-class family. So once he told Charu Thakur and his wife, kindly accept these mangoes and can you give me your remnants? And Charu Thakur said, what? What are you saying? You are such a high-class Brahmin and we are from a lower caste and you are asking our remnants. Never, they said. So then Kalidas, he pretended to leave. And when he was outside, Charu Thakur and his wife, they offered these mangoes to Bhagavan. And then they ate these mangoes and then they threw the skin out. So Charu Thakur, he was waiting outside, and as soon as he received these remnants, he started eating them. And he became so happy, he started jumping up in ecstasy. And then he went away from there. So Mahaprabhu knew how much faith he had. So Mahaprabhu gave him permission. Even when Mahaprabhu sometimes in Kirtan, he would be foaming at his mouth. Like all this foam would collect at his mouth. And Charuta and Kalidas, he would even take some of this foam and he would honor that. Mahaprabhu would give him permission to do all these things. This is faith, Pakka faith. Like you see, this Kaliya, who is he? In Kaliya, in his previous life, he was a king. This Kaliya snake, Kaliya. So when he was a king, in his kingdom there was a great drought. There was no water to drink, no food to eat, nothing. So then he asked his ministers, what should I do? Then one of his ministers, who was a very learned person, he told him, there is one great sadhu who is living outside your city. You go to that sadhu, you wash his feet, and you drink that water. And by that sadhu's blessings, this drought in your kingdom will go away. So then this king, he went to meet that sadhu, and then the sadhu, he was sitting on top of a tree, on a branch. So then anyhow, the king requested that sadhu to come down, and the sadhu came. And then he said, can I wash your feet? The sadhu said, why? He said, I have to, because by the blessings of a person like yourself, the whole world will be benefited. And the sadhu said, all right, as you wish. So then when he put his feet down, the sadhu, there he saw that there were many worms on the sadhu's feet. Worms were eating his feet, there were so many things. So the king was very disgusted. He was thinking of what to do now. How can I wash his feet, touch his feet now? So then anyhow he looked the other way and he started washing his feet. Started washing his feet. So then there was a water, many worms were floating on that water on top. So then the king was thinking, what should I do? How can I drink this water now? So then he took some water and put on his head this way. Then the sadhu chastised him. He said, hey, you come here and you tell me you want to wash my feet, you drink that water, all these things you say, and now you're just sprinkling that water on your head because you say there are many worms here and there. He said, you're very fickle-minded, he said. Your intelligence is very impure, like a snake. You become a snake your next life, he said. Very fickle-minded, you be a snake. And the king, he fell at the feet of the sadhu then. He said, oh, don't do this, you're very merciful, very kind, compassionate, how can you curse me to be a snake? So then the sadhu said, all right, although you'll be a snake in your next life, still, Bhagavan himself, he will come and dance on your roots. So he will be a very glorious snake. And that same king, he was born as Kaliya. And Krishna danced on his roots. So here you see, Kalidas, but his faith was unflinching. He never thought about all these things. That who was Shudra, who was low class, who was high class, nothing. So in this way, these Brahmins, they were orthodox Brahmins, so they had no clue. So then they were finding faults. So Sri Mahaprabhu, he is Antaryami. He is the indwelling super soul. He is the supreme witness in the hearts of all. Knowing that the Brahmanas were opposed to pure devotion, he concealed his emotions. So Mahaprabhu, he realized that these Brahmanas, they are Vijatiya. That they are unfavorable. So then he concealed his emotions. He must not exhibit any prema in front of such kind of people. They only find faults. So Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada, he says that these Brahmanas were opposed to Mahaprabhu. Whereas Raya Ramananda was a very surrendered devotee, intimate devotee. Despite being in close proximity to pure devotee, those Brahmanas maintained their faith in Karma Kanda, which is like a materialistic process. For this reason, those Brahmanas are said to be non-devotees and opposing elements. It is proper for devotees to conceal loving exchanges in front of those who are not inclined to serving Bhagavan and who are fixed in following the materialistic path of karma. Because why? These people, even if you speak Harikatha to them, even if you do Kirtan in front of them, they'll never listen to your Harikatha. They don't have faith in their Harikatha. Now what will you do speaking to them? They don't even have faith. You do Kirtan in front of them, they have no faith in the Kirtan also. So no need to even speak Harikatha to such kind of people. They will not even listen in the first place. So concealing their emotions and regaining their external consciousness, they became sober and they sat down together. Mahaprabhu then smiled. It is never possible to obstruct the bliss of the devotees, and he began to speak. So this is Raya Ramananda. He saw Mahaprabhu not just externally by his eyes, he also saw Mahaprabhu in the core of his heart. Oh, that Sarup of Mahaprabhu. Who is he? He is the Rasaraj Mahabhav, combined form of Radha and Krishna. He had darshan in his heart. This is called Antardasha. You see, a devotee, when he is in the stage of Bhav, he has three stages: Antardasha, Bahyadasha, and Antarbhahyadasha. So Antardasha is internal consciousness, Bahyadasha is external consciousness, and Antarbhaya is half internal and half external. So when a devotee in the stage of Bhav, when he is seeing Radha and Krishna, then Radha and Krishna descend in his heart and they give him darshan when he is in Antardasha. And then when he comes to Antarbhahyadasha, half internal, half external consciousness, then that form of Radha and Krishna that he has seen in his heart by his spiritual senses, he will remember in his mind. It's called Manomaya Vigraha. And then when he comes to Bahyadasha, external consciousness, what does he do? That same form that he's envisioned within his mind, he manifests as a deity that we see by our own eyes. So the deity form of Radha and Krishna are that very form that is who are enclosed within the heart of a pure devotee. But unfortunately for us, we don't realize that the deity form of Radha and Krishna is that form that he has realized. Rather we think, oh, the deity is made of marble, white marble, black marble, the deity is made in Jaipur, deity is made in Mathura. We have this vision. But you see the pure devotee's vision, how merciful he is. What he has seen in his samadhi, he is manifesting here on the altar. What he has seen by his spiritual senses, that vision of Golok Vrindavan, he is giving us a glimpse here as the deity form. Vigraha. If you see the deity is addressed as a Vigraha. What is the meaning of Vigraha? Vi means a very special form, Vishesh Rupena. And Graha means to grahan, means to accept. So Radha and Krishna have appeared in a very special form as a Vigraha to accept our services. But pure devotee has that vision, but unfortunately for us, we don't have that realization. But we should try to cultivate that realization. Now, pure devotee, he sees everything now. Like I've spoken this before. Like one Swami Maharaj, he was performing a deity installation festival. And then, when Radha and Krishna's deities were being installed, Swami Maharaj was sitting all the way behind in another room. And then he called one of the sevaks. He said, come here. And then the sevak said, Prabhupada. And then he said, oh, you have not properly cleansed the deity of Radharani. So then this lady, she said, what are you saying, Prabhupada? And then Prabhupada, he said, Swami Maharaj, that if you look closely, there's a small dot of chandan on Radharani's eye. So wipe that dot of chandan away, because it is very uncomfortable for Radharani. On her eye there's chandan. And this devotee was thinking, what is Prabhupada saying? He's sitting so far away, and we are right here, personally seeing the deity. We could not see that dot, but he's seeing. So then this devotee, she rushed to that place where Radharani's deity was. And then she looked very closely. There she saw there was a small dot of chandan on Radharani's eye. And then she took her cloth, her sari, or some other cloth, and she wiped that dot of chandan away from Radharani's eye. And then she was shocked. And then she came to Prabhupada and she said, Prabhupada, you were right. There was a small dot of chandan on Radharani's eye. How did you know? You're sitting so far. And Prabhupada, he told her, don't think the deity is just made of stone. Deity is Radharani herself. She speaks to her devotees. Krishna speaks to his devotees. Don't think they're only like standing there, made of stone, and that you can do anything. No, they speak to the devotees. So you see here, the deity how he speaks to the devotees. So this way, then Mahaprabhu is saying, oh Raya Ramananda, before I came here, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya greatly glorified you, and he insisted that I meet you. Indeed, I have come here only to meet you. It is very good that I have seen you, had your darshan. Then Raya Ramananda replied, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya accepts me as a servant and indirectly acts for my welfare. So Raya Ramananda is saying, it is only by his mercy that I have received your darshan. This is Anugatya. It's only by his darshan. Now, like we see when Gurudev would give initiation to anyone, he would say, are there any senior devotees recommending you? Only then he would give initiation, or else he would not give initiation. Like even now when you come to Bangalore or you come to any of these other cities, if anyone wanted initiation, they'd have to be recommended by senior devotees. They would recommend, saying such and such person has been coming to the temple for so much time. He does these services, he chants so many rounds, reading this book, that book. And then Gurudev would give him initiation. Not that one person independently walks up to Gurudev and he says, you give initiation. No, there's Anugatya. So similarly here, Raya Ramananda is saying, because I am under the Anugatya of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you have given me darshan. Or else how would I have ever seen you, had you darshan on my own? Never. Only by his good grace, by his good recommendation, you have come to see me. Raya Ramananda is telling Mahaprabhu. So then, Raya Ramananda said, I can see that you have bestowed great mercy upon Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Being controlled by his love, you have touched me, although I am an untouchable. So Raya Ramananda is saying, why did you embrace me, although I am a Shudra and you are a sannyasi? Why? Because of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Because you see that I am related to him, I am his dear friend. And for that reason you embrace me. So see how humble Raya Ramananda is. Who are you? Mahaprabhu, you are the supreme controller, Narayan himself. And who am I? I am a materialistic person, enjoying royal opulences, a most fallen Shudra, engaged in enjoying the objects of the senses. You see when Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they were working for this Muslim king, Hussain Shah. So therefore, for the rest of their lives, they always thought of themselves as like Brahmin Bandhus. Brahmin Bandhus are considered to be those Brahmins who, although being born in Brahmin families, are no longer Brahmins. They're considered to have fallen away from their Brahminical status. So Rupa and Sanatana Goswami never go inside the Jagannath temple. In fact, Sanatana Goswami, once when he came to meet Mahaprabhu, he had like all these boils on his feet. And Mahaprabhu said, how did you get these boils? He said, I was walking on the banks of the ocean. Then he said, why didn't you come the other way? He said, because if I would have come the other way, then the Pandavas, they would have seen me and they would have become displeased. So therefore I didn't go that way. I came all the way around. And they would not even go inside the temple, inside the Jagannath temple. Rather they would look at the Jagannath, the Sudarshan Chakra on top of the temple, and they would offer pranams. And you see, because of their humility, Jagannath himself would come and give them darshan personally every day. Who is Mahaprabhu? Mahaprabhu is Jagannath himself. Every day he would come and see Rupa and Sanatana, because they were staying with Haridas Thakur, at Siddhabakul. And every day Mahaprabhu would give his own remnants to them also, because of their humility. So here similarly Raya Ramananda also is saying the same thing, that who are you and who am I? I am so fallen. It is true that Raya Ramananda did not take birth in a family of Brahmanas, but he was a transcendental Brahman, initiated according to the proper process. Means this proper process of exclusive devotion. Thus Raya Ramananda was a pure Mahabhagavad, a liberated devotee of the highest order, devoid of any material desires. The high-born Vedic Brahmanas had been initiated into the performance of all varieties of yajnas after studying the Vedas. So considering Raya Ramananda to be a Shudra, they guaranteed themselves entry to a hellish planet. Because never judge a person according to his birth. Never judge a person. Who are we to judge? No. That he is low born, he is fallen, he is that, he is that. Never judge him. These people, they were judging Raya Ramananda, born low class family, this, that. So here Prabhupada is saying that they will go to hell. Yeah. So whoever is desirous of actual spiritual attainment and genuine auspiciousness should become the servant of the servant of the servant of Sri Ramananda Rai. Your mercy alone makes you perform this condemnable act. So Raya Ramananda is saying, Mahaprabhu, why are you embracing me? I am so fallen. These Brahmins are criticizing you. Don't embrace me, he is saying. You are Bhagavan himself, but still you are doing this, don't do this. Prabhupada says it is improper for sannyasis to see materialistic persons or to associate with Shudras. No, sannyasis should be very careful. You see, Mahaprabhu, he did not even meet Prataprudra Maharaj. Although he was a great devotee, Mahaprabhu said a sannyasi should not see a king. Because the king is absorbed in very materialistic activities. So all the Prataprudra is still a devotee, still a snake, you see, a snake is very dangerous. And even if the fangs of a snake are broken, still it is very dangerous. No, even if its fangs are broken, even though it has no poison, still it is hissing. Very dangerous. So Mahaprabhu said, a king is like that. He is like a snake. Now, even when Gurudev was in America, there are some devotees that were telling Gurudev that Gurudev, you should meet the President of America, this Barack Obama. You should meet him. Now, Gurudev will arrange for you to meet him. Barack Obama, you should meet him. Gurudev said, why should I meet him? I'm a sannyasi. Why I should meet all these kinds of people? If it would have been anyone else, then immediately they would have met Barack Obama and taken a selfie there. Taken a picture and put it on Facebook. Gurudev said, no. What need is there for me? Meet all these kinds of people. He said, no need. So here similarly, Prabhupada is saying here, but still Mahaprabhu performed this act of touching him. Why? Being controlled by praying, Mahaprabhu, Bhagavan performs even dishonorable acts, like becoming the chariot driver of Arjuna, eating the remnants of the low-born woman Shabari, and associating with the hunchback woman Kubja. So you see, Shabari was a low-caste lady, but still Ramchandra ate these fruits that she offered to her. So she offered to him. No? Shabari, she was such a low-caste lady that some of the other people living in that area, they were saying that we have this pond near our Guru's ashram. This pond has become polluted only because of Shabari, they were saying. Because she is so low caste, every day she takes some of this water, and by the touch of her hands, this pond has become polluted. So these Brahmanas, they were telling Ramchandra that, Prabhu, you tell this lady to not take water from this pond. And Ramchandra said, what are you saying? She is such a great lady, and you're criticizing her. Rather, because you have committed an offense to this lady, this pond has become full of worms. Go wash that lady's feet, take some of that water, put it on your head. You take some of that water and mix it with the water there of the pond. Then you will see what will happen. Then the Brahmanas, they went, they washed Sabari's feet, drank some of that water, and they took some of that water and they put it inside the pond. And as soon as they put some of that water inside the pond became crystal clear. It became so pure. Then the Brahmanas realized, what have we done? We were criticizing her for her low caste, that she was a tribal lady. But what offense we have done? Such a great offense. So you have come here only to deliver me, Raya Ramananda is saying. You are the ultimate storehouse of mercy, and you purify the fallen souls. By your own magnanimous nature, you always deliver the fallen and sinful souls. You have no personal business of your own. Still you go house to house. So this is the nature of a pure devotee. No. Who invited Swami Maharaj to the West? No one invited him. But still you see Prabhupada, he went to all the hippies. People, they're so fallen there. If you read some of these histories there from Prabhupada's early preaching, you can see how fallen they were. Prabhupada, he was staying in the house of one person. He used to keep meat inside the fridge. And Prabhupada used to stay there with that same person who was taking drugs, who went to try to kill Prabhupada. But still he was staying with such people out of his causeless mercy. No, these people were so sinful, smoking drugs, doing so many things. No. Like once one lady, she came, she said, oh Prabhupada, I want to help you cook for my sister's wedding. And this lady, she was wearing a mini skirt. A very mini skirt, like very scantily clad dress. And she was smoking. She had a cigarette in her hand and she was smoking. And she said, Prabhupada, what should I do? Swamiji. Prabhupada said, the first thing you do is throw that cigarette away, he said. She threw the cigarette away. And Prabhupada told her, go dress nicely. Don't come like this in front of me. And anyhow, she dressed herself nicely and she came there. And Prabhupada, he engaged her in seva also. And who was that lady? She became a great disciple of Prabhupada. Even now she is respected so much in ISKCON. Yamuna Devi Dasi. She became such a great disciple, follower of Prabhupada. So see how merciful he was, how he reached out to people and transformed everyone's hearts. Pure devotees like that, so merciful. So anyhow, we run out of time. So we are also very fortunate to be in the association, such a pure devotee who is giving us darshan every day and who is guiding us on this path of Krishna Bhakti and helping us have this sambandha with Sri Guru and the Rupanukavalya Guru Varga. So we must make best use of this opportunity and not take things for granted. So Raya Ramananda Samvad ki jai, Raya Ramananda Prabhu ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Tariya Parikar Vrind ki jai, Krishna's Kairaj Goswami Pad ki jai, Nanda Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Samay Shri Aurobind ki jai, Tai Gaur Premanande, Ancha Koti Krishna, Vasundev Jalatanam, Yoga Krishna,